Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out 8 American habits that confused me as a Brit.
Thanks. Just put it on my knee. Yeah. Hello, I'm Laurence and I'm on a quest to uncover.
I love these little bits that he's doing in the beginnings of his videos now. Keep it up, Laurence. Great work.
Thanks. Just put it on my knee. Yeah. Hello, I'm Laurence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to habits, specifically American habits that confused me when I first moved to the United States. And I'm not talking about things like picking your nose, because I think we all do that. Most of you do that, I think.
I do that.
What I've heard. I'm talking about habits that...
I pick my nose every day. You gotta get the boogers out, right? How else do you do it? I do it every morning. You wouldn't believe the amount of boogers I have every morning. How do I breathe at night?
Seem to be culturally ingrained in America and not so much in Britain. One such habit is that Americans tend to be more direct. And so in the interest of assimilation, I'm going to do likewise. If you are not yet subscribed to this channel, do that now.
Y'all be sure to like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. It helps. My numbers have been getting low. My subscriber count is going up. My view counts are going down. What does that mean? What does that mean? Y'all, what is this YouTube thing? I don't get it. I don't know. I just film videos every day and post them, and I'm not, like, I don't get it. Anyway, that's another subject. Let's watch this subscribe graphic one more time, just to put it in your brain.
In the meantime, here are 8 American habits that confused me as a Brit. Right, so I was already prepared for this one just because, you know, we watch a lot of American films back in Britain. But when my new American relatives and or friends started calling me things like buddy and pal, there was a weird novelty to it. I can't really explain it. It's like how I've said before, you know, how I always thought yellow school buses were simply a trope of American films. To some degree, you start thinking that about everything, and words like buddy and pal fell into that category. Growing up in Britain...
I bet it's like, lad or mate. Hey, mate. Hey, lad. Yeah, hey, buddy. Hey, pal. I don't say pal very much, and I'm not called pal very much. I think pal has a little bit of a sarcastic connotation to it. Like, hey, pal. Like that. Like, we're not really pals. But buddy, yeah, hey, buddy. I say it to dogs. Every time I see a dog and I don't know its name, it's buddy. Because they're my buddy. And I like when my friends say, hey, buddy. Like, hits me in the heart. Hey, buddy.
Where the equivalent word is mate, it took some getting used to. And I also noticed that just like with the word mate, both buddy and pal can be used in an affectionate way and a not so affectionate way. An example would be if an American hasn't seen you in a long time, they might say, hey, buddy, what's up? Because, you know, they think I'm a dog. On the other hand, if you...
Yeah, I think you're a dog. That's a compliment. I wish I was a dog.
You took their car seat, they'll look at you with that steely
Wait, I'm sorry, I messed up his joke. Let's rewind.
Seen you in a long time. They might say, hey, buddy, what's up? Because, you know, they think I'm a dog. On the other hand, if you took their car seat, they'll look at you with that steely expression on their face and say, I called shotgun, buddy. And, you know, this happens all the time. It could mean that I'm just an asshole. It's probably that. Now, I can't say that this goes for all immigrants that move to the United States, but one thing that I've experienced a lot is Americans saying, I love your accent. Did you order that online? It is a common...
I love your accent.
Saying, I love your accent. Did you order that online? It is a common question that I get from people. You know,
really?
Ooh, you sound just like the Geico Gecko. Could I just put you in the corner and have you speak to me all day? And yes, those are real things that have been said to me. But, you know, in some ways it's good because it's an icebreaker. I'm an introvert. I don't want to just, you know, think of things to say. And so if they want me to say words like water, tomato, and banana, it's an easy enough paycheck. They get a good giggle out of it and I never have to see them again. Coffee is a huge thing over here, and of course they drink it in cups that are as big as this one right here, because not only do pound for pound Americans drink more coffee than British people, they also drink them, on the whole, in bigger cups. Now, I never used to drink coffee, that is, when I was in Britain, so I didn't previously have a point of comparison between...
Let's just check out that photo. Oh, what is that? What are you drinking, Laurence? What's that beverage? Vodka tonic, maybe? Look at these shorts. Yeah. He's got some American style going.
Is when I was in Britain. So I didn't previously have a point of comparison between the coffee cups in this country and those in Britain. But you know, a few years ago, the wife and I went to Paris. And then we went to England just recently, and it dawned on me, the cups over there, on the whole, are smaller. The default...
Look at those. Those are small.
And it dawned on me.
That's a large? That's a oh, wow. Huh. I feel like the regular is our small, and the large is our medium. Feels like.
The cups over there, on the whole, are smaller. The default that they will give you for just a latte are like there. You know, they're small. In some ways, that's good because it sort of promotes responsible caffeine intake. On the other, when I was in Britain, instead of just ordering one small coffee like that, I'd get 3 of them. That's why I was jet lagged the whole time. I've just realised that. And you might say, well, that's not really to do with American habits. That's just what's on offer. But even I, now, as an American citizen, do have the habit of just ordering a grande. And I think the real habit that Americans do more than Europeans is taking this with you on the go, through the park, a little saunter around the shop.
I think you dropped it. Let's a little green.
Is taking this with you on the go, through the park, a little
Laurence is killing me in this video.
Europeans is taking this with you on the go, through the park, a little saunter around the shopping mall, which is probably where you bought this. And I think that even though Britain is starting to catch up in terms of its coffee culture, there's still quite a wide difference between the coffee drinking habits of the two peoples. And the part of me that really loves my convenience likes to walk down the street with a coffee in my hand.
Yeah, it's fun. It makes the activity a delightful thing, like you're sipping on a coffee and you check it. It's like a mouth pleasure. Wherever you're going, you get a little mouth pleasure. That's what you said.
But on the other, I don't like to give in to this societal pressure of always needing to be busy and on the go. So I mostly just drink it in the bath. Americans have this big habit of using the word right in ways that other people don't. And I'm not just talking about politics. I'm talking about the way in which it's used in sentences. First of all, there is this thing Americans do when they want to show agreement with another person, where they say, I know, right? Or they might just abbreviate that question/sentence to just right. And it's sort of infectious. It's the sort of thing that, you know, in my early days in the US, I found myself saying again and again and again, until I remember that I'm a bit of a contrarian, and since everybody else was doing it, I had to stop doing it. But there's another use of the word right that I think I've also been guilty of, where they'll use it almost like an interjection. So for example, my management team might say something like, Laurence is the next big thing, right? He's smart, he's talented, he's the 3rd sexiest man alive. And while statistically a 1/3 of that is true, the important part here is that my management team remembered to stick the word right in there so that you wouldn't stop listening. On the other hand, it's hours and not miles. That's right. In Britain,
hang on. I know, right? I say that all the time, I think. I think in Britain, right, is used more like, right. And then you leave the room. Right? I just did it. Right? I do it all the time now. I can't stop.
Stop listening. On the other hand, it's hours and not miles. That's right. In Britain, if we talk about the distance from point A to point B, we'll typically say it's a certain amount of miles, as opposed to kilometers. But this is not a conversation about imperial versus metric. This is merely me giving the British perspective so that I can contrast it with the fact that a lot of the time, Americans, when they tell me how long it takes to get from, say, Chicago to Indianapolis, it isn't a couple of 100 miles, it's 6 hours. That's because we often stop at the dog park. Maybe this is a result of the fact that Americans drive longer distances, and so they need to know that time, because sometimes you can drive so long in the US that you actually need to stop for the night and, you know, book a motel. The time becomes more important, I suppose.
Yeah. Spring is in the air. I really don't care how many miles something is unless I'm walking. If I'm driving, I don't care if I'm sitting still or moving. I want to know how long it takes me to get there. I don't care how far. I'm kind of surprised at this. I didn't know this.
To a potential commute. I still prefer to go by the bigger number, which is the distance, and therefore is more impressive to me. But
see, when you incorporate traffic, the distance it doesn't matter. My cousin lives, how far does she live from me? Hang on, let me show you an example. I go to my cousin's a lot. She lives 5.8 miles away, right? If I left here right now, it would take me 24 minutes to get there. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If I left at 5 o'clock, it would take me 40 minutes to get there. Like, that's a big difference. That's almost twice as long. But it's still 5.8 miles. That's a whole different experience, right? Ah! I did it again. Do I have nose hair? Oh. Oh. Where'd that... Speaking of picking noses, that was not a booger, y'all. That was a hair. I think it was an eyelash that was stuck on my nose. It's not a big deal.
Each his own. I didn't know whether to put which is the distance and therefore is more impressive to me, but to each his own. I didn't know whether to put this one in for a while, and then I thought about it and realised that there's actually many different facets to this particular entry, and that entry is this. Americans will use parking lots as death traps. Now, I have a caveat here. This is by no means all Americans. It's very specific ones. When I worked in the call centre, I used to get a ride from someone who lived in the local area. And one day, it had been snowing really bad outside, and she decided, hey, British person with your naive ways, have you ever done a 360-degree skid in a car park? Although she wouldn't have said car park. And I thought she was joking. You know, it'd been a long day of people yelling at us until she did it just there in the partially empty parking lot, and we span around. I thought I was about to die and or be deported, and she was laughing her head off. At first I thought this was an isolated incident until some teenagers started drifting, as it's known, in the car park to my local school. You might say, oh Laurence, great, you've cherry-picked a part of your memory bank to make it seem as if things like this happen all the time.
They do. Hey, good on his coworker for using a parking lot, because that's not always how it works. Sometimes people do what's called an intersection takeover, and it gets wild. It happens in Los Angeles.
To uncover all of the memories.
Shut up, you. Los Angeles intersection takeover.
In Downey, a street takeover also did not go as planned. Some 50 or more cars were stuck at Firestone and Old River School Road last night, while several cars did stunts.
Yeah.
The skills of a pickup driver were not so good.
Okay. That's not a good one. Usually there's like people crowded around. Oh, here we go.
New video this morning of a massive street takeover in Mission Hills. Hundreds of spectators looked on as drivers did stunts and burnouts in the middle of the intersection.
It's so dangerous. People are hanging... Y'all, my headphones are bothering me. People are hanging out the windows like tempting death with all these people crowded around. It's so dangerous.
Takeover happened a few hours ago at Devonshire Street and Woodman Avenue.
Why would you do this to your car?
Got close to the action. Many people stood right in the middle of the intersection with their phones out.
Yeah.
While cars did donuts around them. One truck even lost a tire and was spinning on its rim, causing sparks to fly. Video shows police at the scene, but we're still working out to try to find out if there were any arrests that were made or if anyone will face charges.
Hey,
video this morning.
Yo. At least his coworker was in a parking lot. This happens at least every weekend in Los Angeles. And actually, we got this new bridge. It took years to build. It was millions of dollars. And as soon as it was open, it was taken over. New 6th Street Bridge already being targeted for street takeovers.
Video from a man walking his dog across the newly opened 6th Street Bridge last night.
It's okay, I'm laughing, but this is really dangerous.
Barely 10 days after opening to the public, the 6th Street Viaduct is already quite popular for vehicle stunts and more.
Yeah, they also... Oh, yeah, people are climbing on it.
From this, we can even show people climbing the arches with cameras.
As this thing was being built, you could tell just by the angles of these arches that people were going to end up climbing on them. And
it's so dangerous.
And you can see the remnants of this last day.
Okay, that's enough. We can't have nice stuff, y'all. We're like... Part of me thinks it's really funny and part of me thinks it's tragic. I don't know. I'm in the middle somewhere.
Cherry-picked a part of your memory bank to make it seem as if things like this happen all the time. They don't, but parking lots are a place in which I've seen differences in people's awareness of other cars. In Britain, and this may have changed in the smartphone era, if you're walking into one of the big stores from a car park, you're usually hyper-aware of any cars that may be behind you trying to get out. So you walk at the side right up against any cars here, and you do so at a speed that is slightly above walking pace. In
It sounds
America, those
considerate.
people on foot are not always in such a rush. Like, you could be in your car trying to drive this way, and there's like two people walking really slowly there,
Yep.
and they don't care. It's not
Yeah,
been bred
well, they
into
don't.
Americans to care. I talked a few weeks ago about the British tendency to want to save the face of other people, to not put them out. This is a generalization. It's not true of everyone, but it does exist nonetheless. Americans don't necessarily have that approach to society, and I think this is perfectly embodied by their approach to exiting a parking lot. Here's a habit that... Sorry. Here's a habit that I feel like I've picked up since being here. Americans, if they have access to vacation days, which is not always a given, will take those vacation days, but still occasionally work on those vacation days, even if it's just a light email or two. And I feel...
Absolutely. Yo, I'm going on vacation for a week at the end of this month. But I gotta post YouTube videos. I gotta keep churning these things out. It's not always easy, because I like to put my heart and soul into them for you.
Like when I was in England recently, I told myself, no work, no work, no way, Jose. I'm just going to go and enjoy the countryside and a plate of fish and chips and come home. I did do some filming, and I had 3 plates of fish and chips to make up for it. But this tendency among some American workers with whom I've worked was quite jarring. I think in Britain, where we are given, I think it's 28 days of paid leave a year, we value that time. I think we value our holidays. We see the importance of rejuvenation, and that importance isn't just toward your physical well-being, it also improves your job performance. And so this American habit of working beyond regular hours is one that's born out of a society where it's almost shameful not to work hard, to put in the hours, to go above.
What is this B-roll with these books moving by themselves? That's kind of creepy.
Where it's almost shameful not to work hard, to put in the hours, to go above and beyond just to get that promotion.
I think I do it just because if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it, right? The golden handcuffs of YouTube. I get it, Laurence. Not that golden. Maybe like bronze.
Not to work hard, to put in the hours, to go above and beyond just to get that promotion. I got burned out doing that at the call center, partly because I had to deal with people, but partly because I just didn't have a life. So when I took vacation time at that company or other companies, I really took that vacation time. It's only since I became a bona fide YouTube sensation that I found myself doing occasional work on holiday.
See?
I think it's easier when you love your job, but it doesn't mean that rest isn't important, which is why you should stay tuned until the end of this video to watch my take on why British and American sleep time is very different. And I put this one in because I didn't want this video to feel like it was a complete slam against America and American life. I don't feel particularly negative.
Yeah, there are a lot of jobs in America too where if you do take that vacation time, your manager is going to give you crap about it. He doesn't want you to go on vacation, most of them. And when you're on vacation, you still got to answer phone calls. You still got to reply to emails sometimes. Depends on the job, you know. It's unfortunate. I'm still waiting for the 4-day work week to come through and be the common thing, because I think that would change the world for the better. But that's just me.
Sleep time is very different. And I put this one in because I didn't want this video to feel like it was a complete slam against America and American life. I don't feel particularly negative toward most of these habits, and this is especially true of this one, which is more of an anti-habit. It's about chewing gum. Now, when I think of chewing gum, I think of Americans for some reason.
Really?
But I noticed something when I was in Britain, and it was this, that the pavements, or as they're known here, sidewalks, were pretty littered, especially in downtown areas, with chewing gum. It occurred to me at that moment that I hadn't really seen a chewing gum laden sidewalk on that level since I lived in Britain. This was a common sight, just walking down a downtown street. In America, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I mean, gum spitters are everywhere. But with the exception of occasional cracks in the sidewalk, they always seem to be a bit more clean than the ones in Britain. And so I've put this in here because I want to ask the question, is that because Americans have a good habit of not spitting out chewing gum as much as British people? Or is it because they replaced the sidewalk every now and again? So those are just some of the habits that confused me when I first moved to America. Let me know in the comments if you're American and if you habitually do any of these things. As promised, here is me comparing British and American sleep time. You'll watch that next. And until the next video, goodbye. Thanks.
Goodbye, Laurence. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know about the sidewalk thing. I definitely see gum on the sidewalk It's like black. Becomes part of the sidewalk. It molecularly enmeshes with the concrete. Seems to. Maybe British people are chewing more gum. Maybe that's a thing. Y'all be sure to go to Lost in the Pond and like and subscribe. Well, y'all, I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee folks. Thank y'all for watching this with me. And I'll see you next time. Later.